Good morning, everyone. My name is Kieran Swale. I'm a Tourism Innovation Specialist at Southern Regional College Business Support. And my colleague this morning, Darren McSherry, will be presenting us with a webinar on selling online with effective e-commerce. So you're all very welcome. This is the second of our summer series of webinars, and the team has put this together really in response to not just COVID-19, but actually the demand for these webinars has come really from the businesses, our consultations. We're trying to really respond to what businesses are asking for. So in this particular one coming up with Darren now, first thing, I think, get your pens ready. There's going to be some really good practical tips for your business. Darren, when Darren comes on, then Darren will be giving the talk. I may interject, and I hope I don't disrupt Darren too much when I do that. And then when we get to the end, we'll do a summary. Feel free to submit some questions. There's a little chat box. It's a Q&A chat box. And you can submit your questions to there, and Aisling will be able to tell us and be able to upload them for us. So pens at the ready. This morning you're going to hear from Darren and start thinking about how you're going to sell online. I'm also going to make a quick plug now. We are having a series from Business Support of Fridays in July and August of webinars. So the next one coming up is Food Businesses Adapting to COVID-19 next Friday with my colleagues Brenda and Emma. And then on Friday the 31st of July, which is my birthday by the way, we're going to have a virtual Rooms for Virtual Experiences webinar, and that's with myself and my colleague Cathal McDonald. And then into August, we're having a first steps for podcasting. And then my colleague Brian is going to talk to us later in August, and he's going to talk to us about specialist IT, and he's going to talk about cybersecurity. And then we're finishing up in August with my colleague Jimmy talking about lean implementation. So that gives you a quick flavour of what's coming up at SRC. Our business support. Now, Darren, if you're good to go, Darren, I'm going to hand over to you, and thank you very much for this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone can hear me. And just to ditto Kieran, a very warm welcome to the webinar this morning for selling online with effective e-commerce. As Kieran rightly said, my name is Darren McSherry, and it's good to have you all this morning. So without further ado, let's make a start. Today's agenda is going to focus on the e-commerce opportunity, an insight into e-commerce platforms, best practice for selling online, and top tips to increase awareness and sales. Just a little bit on me. I'm a chartered marketeer and an e-commerce specialist at SRC. I have 20 years experience. I work at Pinnacle Consultancy. I'm the owner and practitioner at that practice. I've experience across 10 industry sectors and regional, national, international experience. So a little bit on me, and that's enough about me at the moment. So e-commerce and websites, in terms of build and experience as well, over 270 e-commerce stores and websites built across small, medium, and large businesses and budgets, and a variety of different businesses, startups, SMEs, and brands, various brands. So why e-commerce? We're going to focus on the commercial opportunity. We're going to look at that, and we're going to look at the customer crucially as well, and the marketplace. So with COVID, leading up to COVID, I guess as well, we have seen a lot of digital acceleration, and really what COVID has brought this year has been widely reported as acceleration of consumption online and shopping online. And recently, you may have seen this yesterday in the BBC, UK adults spend a quarter of their waking day online during lockdown. Now, that was a significant percentage, but again, we're seeing even more consumption by the online customer. So where is e-commerce now? Just to set the scene, 2019, 621 billion of a spend in the EU in 2019, which was a 14% year-on-year increase. We look at the UK a little bit closer to home. We're looking at 200 billion and again a 15% year-on-year increase. So it shows you the demand and the growth that's happening already pre-COVID. The market currently, and what we're looking at here is year-on-year. Crucially, as we see on the right-hand side, what we've seen is that acceleration that I was referring to earlier with the consumer buying online. And really what we're looking at here is a total of retail sales online has increased to circa 30 to 34%. And listen, the chart speaks volumes for itself. Again, looking at the consumer here in terms of the penetration rate being consumers and customers who have active e-commerce accounts and who are buying online. We look at it currently in 2020, it's 84.2%, but crucially, if we look at 2024, it's going to increase to 88.4%. Who is the customer? The customer, as you can see, there's a broad variety of age brackets, and there's none really that's got the lion's share. We're seeing quite an equal balance between the 25 to 34-year-olds versus the 45 to 54-year-olds. So there's quite a spread there in terms of who the customer is. The customer, in terms of how they buy online, we can see quite a transition here, and this kind of lends itself to the growth in mobile technology and the change in consumer behavior. The yellow graphic there is more about e-wallet being PayPal and various other third-party integrations, and that's geared very much towards convenience. You can see all the other aspects there in terms of payment. They're all starting to decrease, perhaps with the exception of BACS transfer in blue. The opportunity itself, listen, there's the opportunity about selling online. There's no doubt about that, the customer, but really it's about your business. And really the question is now for your business is your business going to move and progress forward and become increasingly more relevant to the consumer and customer demands, or go the other way and hopefully not go the other way and become irrelevant? So at this stage, we will have a look at some e-commerce platforms that a business should consider. And what we're looking at here, we will look at three options, and crucially, the first one up there is Shopify, which would present a business with a very simple, straightforward online shop, which would help a business grow their online sales. A more moderate proposition would be WooCommerce, and WooCommerce is part of WordPress, and it would be by and large now becoming out and out the market leader because of its partnership and because of its ownership with WordPress. More complex e-commerce solutions will be Magento, and Magento is increasingly complex and will be for those larger organizations. And really for each of these three, due diligence will be done at qualification stage to see really what is appropriate for your business, because every business has got different needs, different objectives. But for the large part, Shopify as an entry-level e-commerce shop will facilitate most businesses from the get-go. So which is right for me, and really the due diligence for a business and where the likes of myself or indeed SRC could help and facilitate is, some of the criteria a business would look at would be, look at your business proposition, look at the level of investment that you would make that is appropriate to the e-commerce store, the level of learning. So in terms of in-house learning, members of staff, who's going to take ownership of it and who's going to look after it and maintain it. Again, lending itself to the internal resource and the skill sets, what training is needed and how long that's going to take. And crucially, the level of maintenance moving forward. Is there a resource in-house, an IT department or an IT colleague or subcontractor who can look after the maintenance, or indeed a third party that's maybe consulting and looking after the business for you and helping on that front? Third-party integrations I would recommend in terms of an e-commerce solution. What you want to be looking at is Google Shopping. So most of them, well, all of them in actual fact, those three solutions, Shopify, WooCommerce, and Magento, they all integrate with Google Shopping. And what you can see here is on the right-hand side there is Google search results. And what you can see on the right-hand side with those pictures is Google Shopping. Again, Amazon, these solutions, they all do export and they can integrate with Amazon. And again, it's a powerful third party where you can advertise your stock and take payments from customers. Some of you may have already seen this in terms of the Facebook shop. It was launched on the 17th of May, and what we're seeing at the moment is a global rollout. It seems to be they're staggering that launch out across different markets across the world. And really and truly, that's one to watch. I think that's going to be a tremendous opportunity for small to medium-sized businesses moving forward. At this point, maybe we're just going to take a look now at some of the best practice tips. And what we're going to look at is, okay, once you've established, what e-commerce platform is appropriate for your business, we're going to look at, okay, how do we capitalize on that e-commerce shop and how do we make it the most it can be? And what we're going to look at is, okay, some of the conventional pieces of what an e-commerce store does offer is a homepage, a category page, a product page, and a checkout page. Now, to some of you, that may sound very obvious, and I expect that is the case. However, it's making the most of that retail space, and we're going to explore that each of these categories independently. So what we're looking at on a homepage is an ever-present search bar, a very strong value proposition front and center, sales products and tabs and promotions, and a footer. And a footer is important because you're building trust with the customer. A customer who's buying online for the first time will do their due diligence on you, and they will look to see who you are, what you are, and really have a close look before they commit to buying. To really hone in on those areas, we're going to look at Amazon here, their homepage. And listen, we'll all be familiar with Amazon. We've all bought, I would expect, from Amazon at some point in our lives. And what we're looking at here is the desktop version of Amazon's homepage. This will be reflected on mobile as well. But crucially, to hone in on some of the points, the search box I was referring to earlier on, really nice, strong search prominent box at the top. We're also got a strong value proposition. They're focusing on the free delivery, the returns, to track your order, secure payments. That whole value proposition is very strong. So it makes it very easy for the customer to trust and to understand very quickly when they land on your homepage. And again, you'll see here, arguably two thirds of this space, this homepage, is taken up with retail offers. So ultimately, from the get-go, you're selling. Now, some of the points I pointed out earlier may be obvious, but being obvious and taking advantage of this retail space is quite another thing. And really, it is your shop front, and it's a real tremendous opportunity for businesses to utilize that. In terms of the category, what we'll be looking at is clearly displayed products in a row, or indeed rows. Very easy to find navigation, featured banners to highlight current promotions or new arrivals with stock or bulk buys that you have that are maybe on sale. And again, best sellers and new arrivals. So really making it very clear and abundantly clear to the online buyer when they arrive what headline offers you have and what you have to sell from the get-go. Best practice for the product. The star rating, I'm confident each of you will have seen the star rating, the gold star. The gold star now has become synonymous with customer ratings and reviews. We see it on Facebook, we see it on Amazon, we see it with retailers right across the spectrum. Compelling product copy. So the copy's got to be in-depth, it's got to be descriptive, it's got to be desirable, it's got to really position the product in the strongest possible way. Really strong imagery, huge, vibrant product images, multiple images, and I would even go a step further, maybe in phase 2 if you can, is to get some short videos as well, because video is proven to be a factor that helps increase sales and conversion. Big and bold call to actions, add to cart. So really, when you're doing all this work and you're presenting your product and you're doing all the good elements that's recommended, you want to make that call to action very easy for the customer, and a really strong call to actions to add to cart. And the opportunity for upsells and cross sells and related products. And some of these aspects we're going to take a look at right now. Again, we'll come back to Amazon and we'll have a look at this product in question, Oral-B electric toothbrush. And again, what are we looking at? We talked about the star reviews, and you can see quite strongly there the reviews and the ratings of customers who have purchased this product. You've got about 4.5 on average and over 4,000 reviews. That's a tremendous selling point for any business. And again, we talk about the call to action to add to cart. You see it prominently on the right-hand side there of the screen. Again, we're looking at 50%, arguably 50% of the space here, the retail space online, is committed to the photography. And you can just see to the left of that photograph, you can see 6 or 7, well, actual 6 other photographs and a short video at the bottom of that on the thumbnails on the left-hand side. So really, you can see here, if you're looking at best practice, this is best practice. Ultimately, this page is geared up for online conversion and sales. And talking about the cross sales and the upsells, you will see this when you're buying online, that when you're looking and considering a product, that you will see it further down the page, not too far, but still within eye line, that there are frequently purchased items with this. In this case, you can see with this toothbrush, there's possible three other products that can be purchased to increase the sale during that purchase. In terms of the categories itself, we're looking at best practice here, and really what we want to do, and the objective is here, is to really capitalize and increase our retail space. And what we're looking at is, to make it very, very simple in terms of the visual progress indicator for that path to purchase. The path to purchase being, when you get to the stage, you know what you want, you've committed to it, and you're on an e-commerce store that's abundantly clear that maybe you've got 3, 4, 5 steps that are very, very easy, very straightforward, and the customer can commit to that purchase with confidence. Offer different payment options. Now, this will be an interesting one for many businesses, and I expect this may come up in the Q&A. But payment options is becoming increasingly more convenient. The likes of PayPal, and consumers are becoming more accustomed to making quick and easy, convenient purchases using their mobile devices. Include an order summary so that they see that at checkout time. They see that, they get written confirmation post-purchase. An easy to navigate customer service, so ensuring that that the customer does have that peace of mind. And I refer back to that Amazon example that we looked at. That it is abundantly clear there that there is online support, there is online customer service, and the customer has that peace of mind that they can reach out, whether that be pre-purchase or indeed post-purchase if they have any queries. And secure checkout badges. Listen, we all know about buying online, and it's very, very important to do the simple things and do the simple things really, really well. E-commerce stores, they do all follow a conventional makeup, and it's important that you make sure that all these aspects are covered and covered comprehensively. What we're going to move on to now is top tips for increasing awareness and sales. And this is really important. I have to stress this, and I'm deliberately stressing this, that this is important. You may do all the e-commerce, you commit to the e-commerce, but ultimately, how do you get the online customer to your store to buy? And what we're looking at here, we're thinking about planning, marketing. Sales is marketing, marketing is sales. What we're doing here is we're communicating to the customer, we're driving awareness, we're attracting customers, we're influencing them, and we're converting them into a sale. So it really hit home first and foremost with marketing. Planning and seasonality. Listen, we can see from that earlier chart that we looked at, there is seasonality across different industry sectors when consumers do buy. So it's plan out the year on a quarterly basis, plan out your activity, plan out what products and what offers you're going to promote, and plan that out and execute that and have that plan and commit to it. Now, a plan is a plan. It can be fluid, but at least it's some direction on the business on what your intentions are going to be. Pricing strategies and timings. Think about the pricing strategies. Is there a was price, recommended retail price? Is there savings? Look at your competitors, look at the timings of those pricing strategies as well. Does the pricing strategies become more aggressive with your marketing? So as you increase your marketing, your pricing strategies may become more aggressive. And the competition, crucially, you want to have a look at your competitors. I think, I would always recommend to my clients and anyone I'm dealing with in business that, having one eye on the competition and what they're doing consistently, it aids your strategy, it aids how you progress, and effectively you're competing more effectively for your market share. Again, continuing on with top tips, Google's going to be a very obvious one. They've got a monopoly on search, over 90%, 94, 95% search. So they have a dominance on consumer search online. And what we're looking at here, again, we're coming back to the Amazon example, and this one on the right-hand side, hopefully you can all see that. I went into Google, I've done a buy online, and what you can see at the top of Google there is a natural organic listing. It's not a paid for listing, it's an organic listing. So what Amazon have done there is they have invested time and effort into search engine optimization, and they've made sure that the demand is there for that keyword. They've done their research, they've done their due diligence, and they have approached their website with SEO proven applications to ensure that their page, their website is indexing and it's very, very prominent on Google, in this case, top of Google. Now that's search engine optimization. Again, looking at YouTube, interestingly, still part of the Google network. Following the buy online with Amazon, in this example here, we're on YouTube, and what we're looking at here is the buy online. Now this one, incidentally, is a paid advert. This is Google paid search. Now, again, you can invest a custom budget into Google AdWords, and you can commit to whatever amount of budget that you can commit to, or that's going to be appropriate for your business. Ultimately, is the qualification stage needed to qualify that. But this presents an opportunity where you are competing for keywords and you're putting yourself at the top of YouTube in this instance. And what you see there is the buy online, And what we're seeing here is consistency across the different channels, online channels. And you see a strong call to action there, which is visit the website on the right-hand side. Again, Facebook. Listen, again, Facebook is the market leader, still by quite some way the market leader in the UK and in Europe and globally for a social network. Instagram is fast coming up behind Facebook, but it's got some way still to go. Facebook has been established for a long time. It's got the users, and it's still a real opportunity for businesses. And what we're looking at here in this instance, what we're looking is a customer has looked at a pair of shoes on an e-commerce store, and they maybe haven't purchased and they've exited from the actual product page and they've went on to social media. And what this has done is on the news feed for the customer on Facebook, the remarketing and the actual pair of shoes itself has positioned itself on Facebook on their news feed so that they re-engage with the customer with a view to getting that customer back to the website, back to that buying journey to purchase those shoes. Amazon's a third-party website, presents an opportunity as well, but I would say, that's a broader discussion, and that may come up with us in the Q&A. Amazon exert considerable control in terms of resellers and their customers. So ultimately what you get is, yes, you get the market, you get active buyers on Amazon, you do incur charges. However, you do sort of release some control, a lot of control in actual fact to Amazon, and you're playing by their rules because it's their platform and their customers. eBay, equally again, it's a third-party website, but really it's a different playing field to Amazon, and it's really geared towards second-hand items. And it's a consideration, but really I would be leaning more towards Amazon and Facebook for those third parties. In terms of awareness, again, I touched on search engine optimization, best practice. There's lots of people talk about search optimization, but really, is it being done properly? Because it really is a tremendous opportunity. It's something that's always, it's an ongoing process. And in some cases, what I've seen with smaller and medium-sized businesses, it is overlooked. So it's an opportunity. CRM, for those who maybe don't know what CRM is customer relationship management. So you have a database, you have a secure database where you record your customers, new customers, existing customers, and you go through a process of recording their information with their permission, of course, and if they opt in for marketing. And what you have there, you have a very, very powerful database that you can use based on age profile, demographics, products they're interested in, previous purchases. CRM is a very, very powerful tool, and I would always be recommending to small businesses that they look at CRM. Social media, we looked at social media and Facebook, and social media is a very, very effective way for driving awareness. Now, Facebook changed their algorithm probably 7-8 years ago, whereby they've monetized the product. Now you have to commit to spending money on Facebook because the reach that you would have got naturally has been significantly reduced. Now, it's not to say you don't get reach, but the reach you get isn't what it used to be, and it's more geared towards investing money in terms of short campaigns. Paid search on display, Facebook as well, just to touch on that as well. There's various campaigns you can do. You can do paid search campaigns, paid display adverts. You can do display adverts. You can do banner adverts. Listen, I think there's an infinity of opportunity on Facebook, and that's probably a broader conversation for another day. But what I want to hone in here is the opportunity and best practice for awareness, and these are the 4 opportunities that I would be recommending to increase awareness for your e-commerce store. Best practice, again, apologies, this is quite a busy screen here, and what this is a continuous cycle. What we're doing is driving awareness first and foremost. We're looking at consistency in our approach. We looked at Amazon earlier on. They have consistency in their campaigns across different channels, marketing channels, online channels. You look at your proposition, you make that very, very strong in terms of the product page, the search listings, the presentation of the product, the reviews, all of that content that we reviewed earlier on. You convey and you build the trust. You've got some of the star reviews, you've got customer service, some of the aspects that we reviewed earlier in the presentation, and the call to actions. The call to actions are crucial because ultimately all of this effort that we're putting in is all geared towards sales conversion. And what we're looking at as well is pre-purchase, post-purchase customer experience. We want to make sure that customer experience, we delight our customers. We excel in what we're doing in terms of the level of service that we're giving so that ultimately they become customers for life. We don't want to sell. I would always be saying to businesses, we don't want a customer for a one-time purchase. We want customers for repeat purchases. And an important aspect of that is customer experience. Measurement's crucial. If with all this effort, if you're not measuring, you've no benchmark data, you've no way of understanding, are you growing, are you declining, are you plateauing? So measurement is important. And the good news is with the e-commerce platforms that we touched on, they will give you some insights in terms of revenue and sales and opportunity, but there's other things that can be done to give you enhanced information on your performance that would be pertinent to the growth and sales revenue of your business. And CI, I can see maybe some of you thinking, what is CI? CI will be continuous improvement. So this is all about continuous improvement. This is an ongoing cycle that doesn't end. You don't stop once you've it done, you're back into awareness, you start again. And that feeds back to the seasonality and the planning that I was touching on earlier on. The measurement, I've really put this measurement up here because, crucially, everything we do is effort and time. And if you can't manage it, you can't manage what you can't measure. So really what we're saying is here, you have to measure everything. It's really, really important. Bit of a random slide here. I'm sure some of you are thinking that's a lovely island, lovely 4 islands. And if I would be asking each of you if we were engaging at this point, what do we see on this island? The analogy I want to make here is look at these islands. They're lovely. They're positioned probably in the Caribbean, somewhere exotic. They're lovely. Why would you not want to go to those islands? But the point is, look at those islands a little bit more closely. They're isolated. There's no one on them. So the point I want to make is what we want is if we're comparing this to an e-commerce store, you can have a fantastic looking e-commerce store sitting on the World Wide Web, but nobody's going to it. You have no customers. What we want is more like this. And this is showing another island, arguably in the same region of the world, but crucially, this island and this e-commerce store has got customers. It's got capacity to have customers, repeat customers. It's generating revenue. You've different products. You've got seafront. You've different positioning. You've got houses in the middle of the island. The analogy I'm making here in short is this is your e-commerce store. You don't want to be on the left where you've got a lovely looking e-commerce store, but nobody's going to it. You want more on the right. We've got a lovely looking, fantastic, conventional, functional and efficient e-commerce store where you've got customers who are coming every day, they're buying every day, they're shopping, they're browsing, they're contacting you and they're engaging with you. So just to summarize, we've looked at the customer and we've looked at the market, we've looked at the growth and we've looked at the maturity. There's no doubt that e-commerce has been growing pre-COVID. It's been growing for the last 10 years, huge. But at the start of this year, we've seen an even bigger spike in e-commerce activity. We've looked at 3 e-commerce platforms, Shopify, WooCommerce, and Magento. All very, very capable, all very competent, all very in the main for small to medium-sized businesses and indeed large businesses as well. Be found, be trusted, and compete. Very, very important to be found. Lends itself to that last slide we looked at with the 2 islands. It's very, very important to be found. Getting an e-commerce store is one thing, but you have to put the effort in as well to get the customers to actually go online and to buy from your store. Content consistency. Make sure that your product content is strong, the imagery, the reviews you have, the text that you have, and if you can incorporate video, fantastic. Trust and customer experience. What we want is to convey trust. We want to gain that trust quickly, and we want to do all the right things to convey that trust as we explored earlier in the presentation. And on the customer experience point, we don't just want one-time purchases. We want to excel in the customer experience. We want to delight all our customers. The objective of delighting our customers is that they recommend us, they come back for repeat purchases, and ultimately our objective is to get customers for life who keep coming back to the business and shopping online. Last but not least, question for everyone in terms of e-commerce. In terms, some of us may have e-commerce stores, some of us may not. Some of us are thinking, now's the time to act. But really, as we can see from the consumer and the market and the change in technology, that, without e-commerce and without having that e-commerce store, arguably you could be saying, is your business relevant or is it going to become irrelevant with the absence of e-commerce? Thank you.
Great. Dan, thanks a million for that. Superb. Gosh, you were on a lovely roll there. Very, very, some fantastic insight. May I start before we, Darren, we get the questions? That was I loved your analogy. I really got a lot from that. My background, as you know, is in tourism, so I was interested to see what was going to come up next there. So when it appeared, I mean, I think it would be lovely in an open space to get the questions and put the hands up of say what you see.
Yeah.
So I was actually wondering what's coming next there, you know. So I'm thinking connectivity, and you did, well, you didn't use that word. That's what I got from that. And the second thing is I got choice.
Yeah.
So on that picture, I could see you could go to the back of the end, the side of the end, the front of the end, and I actually liked it a little bit on the left-hand side. It seemed quite unique and special. Maybe I'll go there. But the whole point of that connectivity, and you know, customers can only, if they're coming onto your site and they're not giving them the opportunity to buy, well, you're not connected. There's not the opportunity to do that. You covered a lot down there in that half an hour. If I could pick up on a couple of points before we go to the questions.
Okay.
So if a quarter now in 2020, Darren, a quarter of the population, UK population, are online. I mean, that's when you then move that into penetration rates. I think I've understood what you mean. Currently, it's at 84. It's going to 88, I think, in the next 3 to 4 years. So does that mean that every customer, you know, just in terms of population, does that mean that we have like currently 84 penetration rate, that 84% of the population can buy? Is that what that means?
Yeah, I just want to come back on that earlier point on that statistic. A quarter, the statistic there wasn't a quarter of the population was online. The announcement we seen yesterday on the news was after COVID, the population that's online, they're spending a quarter of their time online.
Okay.
So,
beg your pardon.
No, it's okay. Listen, I thought it was important to qualify that because there's a bigger percentage of the population online, and which leads in nicely, I guess, to the penetration. Point. Yeah, the penetration figure you're referring to. The penetration figure is that 84%, excuse me, which is growing up to 88% by 2023-24, is the amount of customers who actually have e-commerce accounts with third parties who are buying online. So it's actually the penetration in the population who actually have accounts, e-commerce accounts. That could be with Amazon, that could be with Argos, that could be with any retailer, ASOS, clothes shops, perfumes, makeup, any form of accessories. So they actually have that statistic, which kind of, if I'm honest, I would look at the statistics quarterly. When I seen that growth and that recent statistic from that source, it kind of blew me away because I thought, wow, for me, in my opinion, businesses have no choice but to meet this customer demand now by having an e-commerce store. It has to be part of business strategy. Otherwise, local businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, they're missing a huge opportunity with customers and sales revenue.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification there. Dan, we do have a few questions coming in. So, which I'm going to take the most recent one, which has come from Gwen. She's asking about fraud. Okay, so how is it? It's a broad but a very relevant question. How to best avoid it? How do you avoid fraud?
It's a really good question, and it comes back to trust. That's important. What we have with e-commerce stores and with that technology, those three options I was looking at, you do have integrated payment gateways. So like the PayPal, Payment Sense, you have Stripe as well. They all have built in. So when you're setting up them accounts, you have to go through due diligence and security checks with that provider. You have to provide proof that your bank accounts are what they say they are. They're legitimate. They're synced to your business account. Everything's done securely with them as a third party. They're integrated and they're connected up with your e-commerce store, and there is systematic and routine checks that's done as part of your e-commerce store to protect not only you but protect the customer. So in the likes of for instance, one way of taking payments there would be Payment Sense, for instance. Now there's two ways of Payment Sense. It offers you can take payments with debit card, credit card. Now you can integrate that into your website, but I know with the likes of Payment Sense there is 4 security checks done when the
What
customer.
exactly is Payment Sense? What is that?
Payment Sense is a payment gateway that enables customers to make payments with their debit card, their credit card, etc. So it enables payment. It's a service. It's a third party which allows you to take payment from customers as part of your website. It's a feature. It's a service that's offered. It's one payment gateway. It's like it's not kind of like.
How's it different from Stripe, or how's it different from PayPal, or the bigger operators? How is it different than them?
Well, we'll come back. We'll come on to that point. But I think that the important point there was the fraud. How do you avoid the fraud? And I think I want to make this point, and we'll come back to that, Kieran. I want to make the point of the due diligence and the best practice, because if you're showing that your business and your e-commerce store, you're showing who you are, what you are, you're doing, you're positioning yourself online as a trustworthy retailer, who you are. You've got your Google Maps, you've got your contact, you've got your company registration data, you've got your contact information, and and this is important as well to avoid fraud, is that you've got a current and secure platform. The likes of Shopify will be very secure. That's all fine. And you've got security and protocol that you have to follow to make sure that the security is tight. That's all a given. The likes of WooCommerce, which is part of WordPress, you want to make sure all your updates is done periodically. And these providers will prompt you when the updates need complete. So there's aspects you can do and will have to do to avoid falling foul to any online fraud. But it's a really good question, because customers have that concern, businesses have that concern, and rightly so. But to put your mind at ease, when you're putting an e-commerce store together and you're embarking on that project, and if you're liaising with a third party, a consultant, an agency, or even asking for advice and mentoring from SRC, then all of that will be covered adequately to ensure that you understand what has to be done, and crucially, what has to be implemented.
Okay, we have about 3 or 4 different more. If you're okay to take a couple of more questions, if we're okay on time. And your second part of the last response will probably come into these. So let's say, just looking at our businesses that we work with and we have worked with. So I'm going to call out a few typical businesses that I think this could be relevant to. So I'm a yoga instructor, I'm a music teacher, I'm a fitness instructor, I'm a grocer, I'm a fashion retailer, I'm a shoe shop. All of those, let's say, have a variety of presence. Maybe we have a Facebook page, maybe we have a website, but we're dipping in, Darren. We're dipping into this e-commerce now. We've, out of necessity and reality, thought, oh, I need to really get into this. What are the initial steps? Listen, maybe I only have a website. What are the initial steps that we need to take from your seminar today? What can I be going out and doing?
Yeah, okay, that's a great question, Kieran. And I think the audience is getting a feel for the here and now. I would break that into 2 elements. Element 1 would be businesses who don't have an e-commerce store, or they have well, actually no, I'll start with the e-commerce. They don't have an e-commerce store, and maybe they have a limited presence in terms of a website and online capabilities. So for a business that's starting really from ground zero and starting from what I would call infancy, really the first steps would be, okay, has the business got a website domain? So amazon.co.uk, amazon.com is an example. So for businesses, have they got control of their brand name online? Because that's important. You need a web domain. You need to look then at going through your business proposition, which of those platforms would be most suitable for your business. You will need to go through that discovery phase and that criteria to say, okay, because you've got level of investment, you've got training, you've also got who's going to maintain it. So they're all pertinent questions to consider, once you embark on the e-commerce store and commit to that. So, but for someone who, on element 2 would be businesses who maybe have an old e-commerce store, or they have a website that's maybe old and dated and maybe hasn't been updated for one reason or another. And listen, there's many businesses out there like that. I think for that business itself, if it was me coming in and looking at that business, I would look at, okay, I would vet the capabilities of the current platform. More often than not, in my experience, it will be dated, but in some cases, there will be opportunity to enhance and grow the existing solution. So what you can do is you can start, if the key fundamental building blocks are there, in some cases you may be able to build on what you have. But if the website is beyond, if the website's maybe 4 or 5 years old plus, in my experience, you're better maybe starting from fresh, because
I'm just going to come in there. So, and that's a really good example, because that may well be the case, that the website might have been somebody that, maybe a family member or somebody that they knew knock up the website and a one-page blog type website, and now you really need something a bit more, as you would say, transactional, and a bit that's going to function very well. So you're better going nearly from a clean slate, and maybe starting up. You rightly identified 3 different, your pyramid.
Yes.
And maybe it's without going back to that particular brand that we don't get paid for, but
there are others.
That there are others, yes. Maybe it's going in at that entry level. I guess what I'm really drilling to here, Darren, is that difficult to do? And the business may still have some trepidation in doing that. Is that difficult to do?
See, that's a great question as well, Kieran, and maybe getting a sense of the audience here as well. What I find as well, and what I've seen over the last number of years, with different varying sizes of businesses, anything from startup to medium sizes to small sizes to bigger companies, that, fear can hold businesses back, and it shouldn't, because going through this process it's exactly that. It's a process, and it's a proven process for anyone who can deliver this, and there's nothing to fear. It's a straightforward process. Now, different businesses of different sizes have different needs. I get that. But in terms of you're starting from an entry level proposition, the likes of Shopify, and there are others, potentially we need to be thinking, if Kieran, if I was engaging with you now on your business and you said to me, Darren, I need to get an e-commerce store, but I don't have a presence, where do I start? So you and I would start that level of engagement, and I would start qualifying, asking you questions to get a feel for your business. But ultimately, if you wanted, say, to get online to start with maybe 20, 30, 50 products, that could be done quite quickly within a few weeks.
I guess what I'm thinking, let's say I have a glass here. Let's say that was Kieran's glass made from, I live in Carryduff. Let's say, so I have a wee shop where I normally sell them. I normally sell them at markets. I go to St. George's Market in Belfast. I sell them at glasses. All right. Yeah. So I haven't been able to do that because I haven't been allowed to, but yet I still want to make money. So how hard is it for me today to set up my presence online? I guess that's a very, very simple, practical example. That's what I'm drilling to.
Okay, what I'm saying is you've got glasses you want to sell. I'd say, right, have you got a domain name? You haven't got a domain name. Let's get the domain bought. You want to get glasses on. How many glasses have you got? Okay,
I have 100.
You have 100 glasses, right? Okay, there's no reason why we can't get onto Shopify. There is a very cost-effective solution. Okay, we get your domain. We start getting photographs of your glasses, your different options. We need all your descriptions. We need your price points. We need a little bit of DNA about the company. So where are you? Who are you? The description, the who, the what, the where, the when, which is all copy. It's all text. It's all write-ups. You want to be able to position that. So in that planning
stage and preparedness stage, that's as important before I actually think I can just walk in and sell my glasses.
Well, see, it's a great point, because say for the likes of if I was coming into your business, Kieran, I'd be saying, right, well, I know what Darren can do. Darren can deliver you an online e-commerce store. Okay, but it comes back to that island. I can deliver you a beautiful looking store, but it needs to be populated with content. It needs to have strong product. It needs to have your proposition. It needs to all about you. So, the shop front can be delivered, but I equally need your help, Kieran, in you giving me your content in terms of your pricing, you're doing your due diligence on your margins, your imagery, your proposition about you, the who, the what, the where, the when. I would take all that information from you and I would put that onto the website, or better still, I would show you, Kieran, how to do that.
Excellent. Okay, well, how about 3 or 4? I'm conscious of, Sarah, if you give me the 3 or 4 more questions coming in. Just watching our time here. I think we're still okay. So reviews then. Can we talk to you about, again, I'm familiar with TripAdvisor reviews, and buying online, again, I'm a keen cyclist. I buy a lot of stuff online. I really focus on reviews as a buyer, Darren.
Yeah.
So I tell you what I really appreciate is when the shop owner has come back and has given a response. Yeah. If I say it all 5, I'm a bit And maybe that's my cynical nature. If I see a 4.2, I'm thinking, and I've had a reply from the business, I'm giving that credit. So I guess what I'm saying is, what about the poor reviews? How do you deal with these?
Great question too. I see it as an opportunity. I tell this to businesses and clients and companies that I speak with and advise and help. When you have a bad review, show your bad reviews, because it's a fantastic opportunity. It gives you an opportunity to differentiate your business. When things go wrong, and inevitably things do go wrong with business, no business is perfect, and things do happen beyond our control or by human error or otherwise. But when you get a bad review and that's publicly submitted online, for me, that's a tremendous opportunity for the business, because then you can really show what your business is about, how you put that right. And then there's nothing nicer than getting a bad review and turning that into a really positive review, because when things went wrong, then guess what? The business done this, and it's even sweeter when it's all documented online. Now you don't want to engage in a bun fight, for want of a better word, online, but you want to be constructive online, take the conversation offline, but respond publicly, qualify what's going on, take it offline, arrange how you're going to move it forward, and facilitate it to the customer's needs and satisfaction. And then, obviously you can follow up online, and the customer more often than not will acknowledge that, accept that, and give you and more often than what I've seen is, if you get a 3-star review because maybe the services fell short for whatever reason, the lead times weren't as promised, or there's a fault with the product and the returns process was slow. But if you get a 3-star review and you act accordingly, and you can turn that into a 5-star review. But crucially, Kieran, by going from 3 stars to 5 stars, you'll have a reason why it went from a 3-star to a 5-star, because you'll see the problem as a new customer. You'll see the problem, but you'll see how it was responded, how it was acted upon, and how the customer actually re-engaged with the business to revise their thoughts on the business.
And I guess, that's a really good point, because there's the opportunity to make a deeper connection with your customer base, not just one customer, but your customer base. An interesting question coming on here. We're okay to mention the business is Visit AR Guide. I think I know this business. So he's saying, he is saying, we are creating an online tourism booking platform using aerial video into each area. Should all the bookings be done on the single platform, or allow the tourism providers to take direct bookings via their websites? That's from Visit AR Guide.
Just give me the last part of that again, Kieran.
So we're creating on it. Should all bookings be made on the single platform, or allow the tourism providers to take direct bookings? I think what this question's coming at is, should the so he has there's a guide here, and on the guide you'll be able to see properties to come and have a look at, and perhaps you could book an experience at this, whether it's an accommodation experience or a tourism experience. And I think the question is, should this company have a platform where you can do it within, or should there be a link on each of the photographs, if you like, the augmented photographs, to the website? I think what they're saying is, should it be all housed within his platform, or should he have links linking to the various properties or tourism experiences? I think.
Yeah, no, I think I got the gist of it the first time, but I wanted to call it. I think from my understanding of that is that business is asking the question: is it better to house their proposition and services on their own website, or do they also put it out onto a third-party website so the third parties can take bookings on their behalf? Yep. But I think with there's pros and cons. If with a third-party website you're taking bookings, they inevitably will incur charges, so they will be looking at a piece of the profit. They will be charging, inevitably taking some value from the purchase. So the question is, I would bring it back to a business case to say, what is the opportunity? What is the commercial value and the opportunity that this third party can bring to my business? By number one, putting those aerial views and those services and those experiences on their website, and the volume opportunity that they bring in terms of sales and opportunity versus what the cost is going to be. If that business doesn't think that they can grow that revenue by what this third party can provide, then I would say there's probably a good business case to go with a third party, but I would engage with a third party in terms of having the terms and conditions. So how long this is going to last for, what the rates is going to be, what the charge is going to be, what the duration is going to be.
Sure.
But the cons of that is you're releasing control. You're releasing control, so the customers then become the third parties customers because they're going to their website. That business who's asked the question, their proposition and their service almost becomes synonymous with the third party.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. That's a good response. Gwen has a question, and that links to another question from Aisling. Gwen has asked if WooCommerce is a WordPress plugin, and then Aisling is asking a question about can you use Shopify with a WordPress site? Could you take both of those?
Yeah, can do. WooCommerce is part of WordPress. WordPress is the market leader for websites. So there's a huge percentage of businesses that have WordPress websites. WordPress are becoming more of, or arguably our dominant force already in websites, but equally WooCommerce now is dominant and arguably the market leader for WooCommerce. So yes, to answer that question, yes, that's correct. It is part of WordPress, and you do need a WordPress website. You need a WordPress account to have a WooCommerce e-commerce store.
But you could integrate Shopify with WordPress.
I would be asking, why would you want to do that?
Okay, but just say your entry, say you're just starting off in your business. Say you have a WordPress site, but you're just starting off. No, just go with WooCommerce.
Well, I think from judging by this is if this business in question who's asking this, if they have a Shopify e-commerce store already, and they're feeling the need to go to WooCommerce, I would commit to go to WooCommerce.
Okay.
Ultimately, with Shopify, you can export your product, you can export your content, and you can upload that onto WooCommerce. I would make the transition. I think by trying to bridge that, it's not something I would recommend. It's not something I've ever done. I would commit to one or the other.
Is it difficult to export just on that to, when back to your pyramid? Is it difficult to do it as your business grows to move from to? It's not difficult, and that's something that at SRC we could help with.
Yeah, I think with, obviously when you're moving up that pyramid that you talked about and I showed in the presentation, there is as you would expect, greater functionality, features, and there is a degree of more learning, which you would expect with anything that's going to offer you a stronger proposition. But it's not difficult. Businesses and individuals can be shown and trained how to do that. So
with 2 minutes before we go to Sarah, so if Facebook is the market leader, should all businesses consider having a Facebook shop?
Why not? Yeah, of course.
Okay, last one. What tools would you use for measuring? You talked earlier on about measurement, and how difficult is it to interpret the data?
Okay, good question. The e-commerce stores will give you core revenue and basic information on website visitors and various different metrics. That's taken from Google Analytics. So you need a Google Analytics account, which is free software by Google. And Google Analytics is a comprehensive suite of metrics and data. Now, it's not difficult, but you can be overwhelmed with the level of data that's in there. It's knowing what to look for, because you can end up going down a rabbit's hole looking at something that maybe isn't meaningful. It's looking at the right information on the reports that's meaningful to your profitability.
And again, coming back to what we do, that's something that SRC could help businesses with.
Yes.
Okay, that's been fantastic. Thank you very much. I know I've been rapid firing the questions at you there, but you've responded really, really well. And before I hand over to Sarah here, it's just been I've really got a lot out of today. I think what you've been able to do in this webinar is look strategically to begin with, and then bring it right down to practical tips. And I know we drilled through a few there from the Q&A there. Before I go to Sarah, just I would like to thank and I should have done this at the beginning, thank Connected, and and this particular webinar series is supported through Connected NI department, through the Department of the Economy, so under emerging technologies and other streams. So thank you very much to Connected, again to all our colleagues at the business support, and to the businesses that to date have come on and supported us and continue to do so. And we are finding our feet in this, but you know, it's certainly, Darren, today you've really given us a lot to think about and some practical tips today. So just from my end to you, I'm now Sarah, if I could call in Sarah here, maybe just to wrap up and just to remind some of our those that are listening today, Sarah, of our further support that's available from our business support unit. Thank you.
Well, thank you to Darren and Kieran for that presentation. That was so much information thrown at us quickly there. So the presentation will be emailed out this afternoon to anybody to the email we have from the registrations. If you've come into this from a link that's shared by somebody else, drop us a quick email to betterbusiness@src.ac.uk and we'll send that presentation on to you also. Along with it will be the feedback for the event. So we really would appreciate 5 minutes or so if you could just complete that and send us back to it so that we can identify the requirements for moving forward with these webinars, what extra ones to do. So I just wanted to talk about some of the support that's available to business through SRC. So we'll start with the Skills Focus program. It's mainly a training program, and it's funded by the DFE, Department of the Economy, and it's to provide non-mandatory training. It was 75% funded, but it's been increased to fully funded in response to COVID-19. So it's a great opportunity for businesses just to get a bit of extra training for some of their staff. The Innovate Us program, it's a program that offers 30 to 60 hours of mentoring or upskilling on a one-to-one basis. At the minute, you know, it would be virtual meetings, but some of them going forward would be looking at on your site or at the college premises, whichever's more suitable. And it's for an innovative product, process or service. Also available is the innovation vouchers. That's a great way for businesses to avail of R&D opportunities and resources for innovative solutions for business issues. Although it's important to realize that there's a VAT element to this one, and it's through Invest NI, and there is an equivalent one with Enterprise Ireland. They just finished with the Fusion and the KTP knowledge transfer programs. These are two programs that offer businesses the opportunities to get high caliber graduates into your business, partially funded, and with mentor support through the college. So as you know, there's plenty of support out there. If you want to discuss what's relevant to your business, please get in touch with us and we will do our best to point you in the right direction. So as Kieran started at the start of the webinar, he mentioned that we are running more of these through the course of the summer. So the next one is actually on Friday coming, and it's called Food Businesses Adapting to COVID-19. So it's next Friday at the same time, 9:30 a.m. You can check our social media channels and our website for upcoming events. So that's it. We won't take any more of your time this morning. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll get the evaluations and the presentation out to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.